After 3 years and 18 new fighters added through both the base game and DLC, we finally reached the end of the long and winding road of additions to the Smash Ultimate roster. As of the recording of this video, Sakurai has expressed that there are no current plans to continue the Fighter Pass after the second volume is complete. And with Kazuya from Tekken finalizing his bid as the penultimate character to join the series, the guesswork has become more emphasized than ever before in the Smash community. Since the earliest days of the franchise, fans have had long campaigns lobbying for their favorite character to join the fight, the melee, the brawl, and beyond. Some have been successful, many have not. Some were no-brainers, and others took extended pitches to finally get the call. Long-awaited payoffs like the eventual arrivals of Ridley, Banjo-Kazooie, and King K. Rool, and crushing deconfirmations of fighters like Bomberman, Waluigi, and Geno after years of vouching. Hell, I've had my fair share of campaigns on both sides, from being an early asserter for Inkling to my long and hopeless plead for Shadow the Hedgehog. With so many important video game icons still being extremely viable options for the roster, the race for the very last spot is heating up. So, for one final time for the foreseeable future, it's time to take a dive into the wonderful world of Smash speculation and pick some names that could hold the best case for taking the final slot in the second and definite volume of the Smash Ultimate Fighter Pass. Let's talk about it. Going into the mad dash for the last roster spot, many of the top options that remain are the same ones that have held strong and lengthy considerations for a long time. For me, the obvious one that I was anticipating for the October reveal that would eventually become Steve was actually Crash Bandicoot, Sony's iconic animated marsupial who was introduced to rival Mario and Sonic back in September of 1996. And with the series receiving its first mainline installment in 22 years back in October with Crash 4 It's About Time, ironically, I was certain it was the time for the character to get its due in the Smash franchise. With Crash being such an easy fit alongside Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, and Banjo, it all hangs in the balance on whether Sony can be as chummy with Nintendo as Microsoft has been in recent memory. Another name that has floated around the realm of speculation for a majority of Smash's lifespan is Ubisoft's own IP, Rayman. With his cartoonish nature, unique skill set, and iconic lack of limbs, Rayman has always been viewed as a somewhat seamless addition to a roster celebrating gaming's mascots. However, there is a handful of factors that can be attributed to why Rayman remains on Sakurai's long waitlist. The biggest being the fact that though Ubisoft's ups and downs, as well as their shifts in priorities over the years, the Rayman series has waned in popularity and notoriety. The last mainline title was Rayman Legends, and while the installment was a triumphant success and remains the highest rated title in the franchise, it was released over 8 years ago with no hype surrounding a new mainline title for the foreseeable future. And with the hit the series took in relevancy, it makes it much more difficult to pick Rayman over the treasure trove of other characters for the critical honor of the last spot. On the other side of that coin, one of the most relevant and popular IPs in gaming for the last 2 decades has been Kingdom Hearts. And with Square's legendary Final Fantasy series already clearing not 1 but 2 characters in Cloud and Sephiroth to join the game, it shouldn't be a stretch to consider the lead from the just as impactful sister series in Sora. A beloved and well-requested name, Sora is arguably the most viable option that would net the best reception from the general public, if he got the final spot. That being said, there is one massive issue that puts a giant gate between Sora and Smash: the mouse upstairs. Being a series that is heavily incorporated with Disney through and through, it would be an incredibly surprising outcome if Nintendo can get on the other side of the Magic Kingdom's license in hell. Taking a step back to reach a little further, a character like Master Chief or even Doom Guy has been given at least a sliver of consideration. For Chief, with Microsoft's leniency towards Smash by giving the green light for Banjo and Steve, it has been up in the air for a while to see if their most iconic character would make its way onto the roster. As for Doom Guy, the Doom franchise is another illustrious franchise that has left its trail in the industry, and between the nods Sakurai himself has made to the franchise recently and how the addition of Snake back in Brawl managed to work out, it may not be too far-fetched to see a grittier character get adapted into the Smash universe. One fitting pick that I've been waiting on under the radar for a while now is Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden series. With Smash's focus on highlighting characters that had iconic titles stemming from the arcades and from the 80s, like Fatal Fury, Ice Climbers, Duck Hunt, Ninja Gaiden was one of the important Nintendo titles in that period. And while the franchise hasn't made much noise in a while, Ryu would definitely fit in with the subgroup of legacy characters in the roster. Of course, I can't get through a Smash DLC video without throwing in a bid for a second Sonic rep. And while I won't get too fired up this time, since I made a lengthy video solely on the topic back in January, it's never too late to add Eggman to the roster. Sonic's been without a doubt the biggest third-party name within the Smash roster for over a decade now, and watching other third-party IPs like Street Fighter, Castlevania, and Final Fantasy get multiple reps on the roster in such a short time, it's puzzling as to why not even the main antagonist amongst the massive cast of the Hedgehog's familiars hasn't been tapped into by Sakurai to pair with the other iconic hero-villain combos already in the game. And the last franchise to toss into the hat would have to be Undertale and its player character, Frisk. It would be of great bias to ignore the insane impact Undertale has had in the years since its breakout debut in 2015. Despite other games like Super Meat Boy, Terraria, Shovel Knight, Hollow Knight, and yes, Among Us, put up greater sales than Undertale, the reach the title has grasped in terms of legacy in such a short period of time compared to a majority of its other distinguished indie titles make it the best rep behind Minecraft to serve as indie representation in Smash. And with the goalpost being moved more into indie titles' favor with the historic addition of Minecraft Steve, as well as Undertale costumes and music already within the game, coupled with the consistent relevancy of the series with the greatly anticipated Deltarune 2 just releasing, it wouldn't be that large of a surprise if Sakurai and Toby Fox can connect to make Frisk and Smash a reality for a buzzing DLC finale. Now, with all of those names out there, which one would actually have the best shot to come into fruition when the last spot is decisively announced? Who gets the coveted 82nd spot in the massive achievement that has been the Super Smash Bros. Roster? Let's sift out the names from worst to best odds. I think it's fair to say that Master Chief or Doom Guy is just a bit too unrealistic from Smash. It could always find a way, but that just may not be a direction that the devs were even trying to go towards. Rayman and Eggman would have to be crossed out next, as while they both hold great cases, Eggman especially, in terms of timing and just the context of the very last spot in the game, it may be just a missed opportunity to not have added them earlier. Next is Crash. I really want him to be added, but something tells me that Sony is just not nearly as willing as Microsoft to just allow their mascot to run around on the console exclusive of a direct competitor. Ryu Hayabusa is a strong name that could very much come to light, but my doubt lies in the fact that it just may not be a grandiose addition as the dramatic last pick for Smash Ultimate. Really, this is where I toss up between Frisk and Sora. It truly comes down to which side of shock factor Nintendo wants to spark with this grand finale. If it's Frisk, it would be an upset to the many fans who just don't connect with the indie scene or the Undertale fandom. If it's Sora, I feel as if it would be consensually celebrated and easier to digest even for people who aren't a fan of Kingdom Hearts, as he was such a popular and justifiable candidate for so many years. But if I had to choose just one out of the characters we've discussed, despite the licensing troubles that may be on the table, I'd have to go with Sora. There have been 81 character slots filled on the Super Smash Bros. Roster, building up since the original game release with only 12 fighters over 2 decades ago. Now, as we inch towards the final addition to an installment that feels like the definitive, the ultimate, no pun intended, and perhaps the final game in the series as we know it for the time being, it's been well documented how tasking producing Smash over the years has been on Sakurai and the many other hard workers who've developed the 6 titles over the years. And while I'm sure there is no way Nintendo will let their most viral franchise conclude, ever since Ultimate's announcement in detail, there was always a sense of finality in the air. With that in mind, it only makes it that much more important that the final character edition be one that has an explosive reveal, reaction, and rollout that rivals even that of Steve's when he made an upset 1 year ago. So despite whether your favorite character will get that last call or not, let's just appreciate how monumental of a project the Smash Bros. Series has been up to this point, acknowledge how crazy the community has been in terms of speculation over the years, and continue to anticipate the next Nintendo Direct for this last reveal for the ages, because I'm sure it'll be a doozy. That being said, as always, if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We're on the road to 1K. And I'm bringing back end-of-vid questions. Let me know in the comments which character you want to see. And of course, thank you for watching, good game, and take care of yourselves. Peace!